I blame the government.
You either run from things, or you face them, Mr. White.
What exactly does that mean?
I learned it in rehab. It's all about accepting who you really are. I accept who I am.
And who are you?
I'm the bad guy.
What makes a person a bad? Generally, to call someone bad, we look at the harm they cause to people in society. But if we witness a person's life and they are not satisfied with the evil they cause, can we still call that person bad? If they avoid causing pain, if they feel responsible toward people, doesn't it start to become harder to call that person bad? The series Breaking Bad is one of the works that presents this questioning in the most masterful way. Jesse Pinkman. When we first see him while he is portrayed as a self-interested, simple drug dealer, over time we witness that this character moves back and forth between good and evil. In the previous video, Jesse, whom we saw as a character opposite to Walter White, unlike Walter, is not ambitious. He does not try to justify the bad things he does, and most importantly, he is someone who pays the price for every bad thing he does. But does that make him good? He does not want to use violence, but he kills a man. He seems like a fair man, but he sees no problem in stealing. He is loyal to his partner Walter, but towards the end of the story we see that he betrays him. And throughout the whole story, one single question spins in our mind. How? How can a person who enters a dark path still remain good? If a person regrets what they have done, can we call them good? Or is the thing that makes them bad only what they do?
I have nothing! Alright, it's all gone!
At the beginning of the story, Jesse is described as an ordinary punk who produces and sells drugs on a small scale with his friends. Since his high school past was not very bright, he did not go to university and is someone who wants to make money by selling drugs on the streets with his friends. Jesse is kicked out because he uses marijuana and takes the blame for the drugs his family found at home in order to protect his younger brother.
Hey, where am I supposed to go?
I don't know, sweetheart. But please, turn your life around.
After this, he moves in with his aunt, and he stays with her until her death from lung cancer. During this period, Jesse's life is shaped by small-scale drug deals, wrong friendships, and constant escapes. Because he cannot succeed in school, he is excluded by his family compared to his younger brother, who has academic potential, and even the friends he works with do not take him seriously. Within all these fragmented pieces of life, Jesse encounters his former chemistry teacher.
Maybe you and I could partner up.
You want to cook crystal meth?
Jesse does not refuse Walter's offer, and they enter this dark business that will be a long journey. At first, Jesse sees this partnership as an opportunity.
This is pure glass. This is art, Mr. White.
Thanks to Walter's competence in chemistry, they produce drugs whose quality is far above the market. And for Jesse, this means a lot of money and freedom.
Yeah, Mr. White. Yes, science.
As the story progresses and this duo grows in their business, concepts such as addiction, guilt, need for belonging, and emotional collapse are added. This young man, who initially seems careless and disorganized, just trying to survive, as he forms a deeper bond with the underworld and begins to feel the weight of what he does more and more, we witness him step by step turning into an inner collapse, and even into a victim who constantly fights with his own conscience. Jesse Pinkman's character, transformation oscillating between good and evil, contains extremely interesting elements. And the first of these layers, the point where the whole story actually begins. Money. For Jesse, money at first glance seems like a very simple motivation. After all, for a young man who has not been able to build a life and whose opportunities are limited, money is the key to freedom, to building a normal life, and ultimately to saving his life. When he tries to build a proper life, it is implied that his education has not given him any real value or competence, and that he is only at a level to do a simple and undervalued job.
I mean, I'd be happy to consider you for a sales position, but all our agents need to be licensed, have at least 2 years on-the-job experience, and usually a college degree.
But Jesse believes he can do more. Ever since his former woodworking teacher asked him, "Is this really the best you can do?" he feels the need to prove that he can achieve something.
Like, he wasn't exactly saying it sucked. He was just asking me honestly, is that all you got? And for some reason, I thought to myself, yeah, man, I can do better. So I started from scratch. I made another, then another.
For this reason, he applies the same mindset to meth production, because the only profitable path in front of him is the drug business. But when he enters this business, he realizes this. For Jesse, the issue is not earning money, but under what conditions he earns that money. From a philosophical point of view, a deep issue emerges here. The human mind records the reward it earns not only as a result, but together with the costs experienced for that result. In psychology, this is roughly called emotional recording. A person tends to remember not only what they gained, but also the process they felt while obtaining that gain. Let's try to understand with an analogy. There are two people who earn the same amount of money. While the first earns it from a completely clean job, the second witnesses someone else's harm in every earning, even directly contributes to it. From the outside, the result of both is the same, money. But their inner worlds in the process of earning that money are not the same. The first feels the gain as a completed action. The second, however, experiences each gain as a cycle of tension that continues in their mind. When we return to our story, this is exactly what Jesse Pinkman experiences. His closest friend Combo dies while selling the product Jesse produced. He gets his first love Jane back into drugs and finds her dead in bed.
Come on!
But the real breaking point is this. Jesse is forced to kill someone with his own hands in order to survive. Gale Boetticher. An innocent man dies because he is in the wrong place at the wrong time. After a while, life seems to give him a second chance. Andrea Cantillo and her little son, Brock Cantillo. Just as Jesse begins to believe for the first time that a normal life might be possible, this hope is also taken from him. Brock is poisoned, and the love that brought him back to life, Andrea, is also killed before his eyes. All these bad events that happen to him occur because of the dark business he entered to earn money. This young man who initially just wanted to earn money, over time realizes this. Every money he earns causes scenes of tension constantly looping in his mind instead of a feeling of reward and success. Because Jesse remembers the money he earns in meth production not alone, but together with the faces of other people who pay its price.
I deserve whatever happens.
However, his partner Walter White does not enter such an emotional collapse, because unlike Jesse, Walter constantly tries to rationalize every action. He convinces himself that everything he does has a reason. Whenever he causes destruction, he says he did it for his family, for necessity, for logic, for control, and thus suppresses his conscience. But Jesse's tragedy is not only what happens to him, it is also what he allows, what he ignores, and sometimes what he personally chooses. Above all, Jesse has chosen to be part of this dark world by his own will. Even if there is pressure from his partner Walter, he is already in this business at the beginning.
$672,000.
All of it.
No, each.
Each. $672,000
$72,000 each.
each. Yes! Hell yeah!
Even though he seems like a sympathetic character, he is satisfied with producing and selling crystal meth by profiting from people's misery. He started this path with the idea of easy money and did not change this idea until major events happened to him. He sees how his customers are physically harmed by this, but does not see it as a problem. Jesse thinks they are adults, that using it is their own choice, and assumes that if they do not buy from him, they will buy from someone else. Moreover, he tries to deceive the other person by downplaying the addictive effect of the drug.
But that stuff's really addictive, right?
Not really. It's just a media thing. You know?
What's it like?
It's awesome. Everything's maximum interesting.
But there is a critical dilemma here. Jesse, unlike other dealers, is not just a dealer. He is also a user. Whether this makes him more moral or more problematic is not clear at first glance. Despite this, the fact that he uses the substance he produces prevents him from being seen as a completely bad figure, because unlike Walter or Gus, he never sells something to others that he would not do himself. But he is aware that the crystal seriously makes both himself and the people he sells to paranoid. Yet despite this, he continues to use and sell it again and again.
Why do you want this money?
Because it's mine? It's my cut?
But isn't it filthy blood money?
In fact, his mindset is what truly caused the death of the woman he loved, Jane. Instead of keeping Jane, who had just quit drugs and was in rehabilitation, away from drugs, he made her start again and witnessed her dead in bed. But even after Jane dies, Jesse continues to do this job and use drugs. As the story progresses, we see that he earns good money, yet he still cannot enjoy this dirty money. He generally uses it generously to meet the needs of his loved ones. For example, he gives money to Andrea so that she and her child can move to a better neighborhood, away from crime-filled areas. But how ethical is it to give money that he sees as dirty to other people? When Walter gives him his share at the end of the film, he does not want this bloody money because it caused Mike's death.
It's like you said, it's blood money.
When he is forced to accept it, he wants to give this money to Mike's granddaughter and to the family of the child, whose death he indirectly caused. When this is not possible, he starts throwing the money from his car onto the streets of Albuquerque. Actually, there's a very critical point here. Unlike Walter, Jesse never truly wanted to become extremely rich or powerful. Towards the end of the story, when Walter and Mike argue over money, Jesse offers to give from his own share, so he accepts earning less money as long as there is less violence.
Hey, stick out of mine. All right, go for it.
So can we really call Jesse anti-violence? This question brings us to the most important step in Jesse Pinkman's character transformation. At the beginning of the story, although Jesse gives the image of a tough guy outwardly, it is clear that he is not someone who favors violence, because we see that whenever he harms someone, he carries its psychological burden and experiences an inner discomfort. However, when he feels threatened, we notice that he does not experience the same hesitation. Like most of us, he enjoys bad things happening to bad people. For example, when he thinks that the drug lord Tuco will kill him, Jesse says the only thing to do is to kill Tuco.
It is him or us, you understand? It is him or us!
Similarly, when cartel members attack, he does not hesitate to shoot them. Of course, Tuco and cartel members are already clearly bad characters. However, Jesse's situation is more complex than we think. For example, he also feels intense hatred toward Hank because Hank beat him and sent him to the hospital. When he later hears that Hank has been shot, he becomes very happy about this news. At first glance, you may see this as normal. However, there is a critical point here. Even though Hank beat him badly, is it correct to place Hank in the same category as Tuco or other cartel members whose nature is violence? Because when Hank harms Jesse, he does not do it within a crime culture or as arbitrary violence. He is a policeman, and although he acts wrongly in a moral sense, he acts within a framework where he believes he is protecting the law. And at this point, we realize this. For Jesse, guilty people are not only those who commit crimes, they are people who personally harm him. So Jesse is not an innocent person who evaluates the violence he commits on the same moral scale every time. This situation of his is explained by the moral disengagement theory in psychology. According to this theory by the American psychologist Albert Bandura, people use certain mental mechanisms to bring behaviors they would normally find wrong or immoral to the point of this is not actually that bad. In other words, the person does not fully feel the moral weight of what they do because their mind produces justifications that it is right. Even though we think Walter uses this method the most, we see that Jesse also behaves this way. When someone like Tuco threatens to kill him, Jesse sees violence as survival, and thinking he is defending himself, beats and kills him. Likewise, when he shoots cartel members, he perceives it as a war situation and justifies his action. But most importantly, his hatred toward Hank works in a similar way. Because Hank hospitalized him, Jesse sees him being shot as a deserved outcome. But do these make Jesse bad? What deepens Jesse's contradictory relationship with violence is his sensitivity toward children. While Jesse maintains a harsh and detached attitude toward many adults around him, he is always softer and more protective toward children. When a child is involved, he is someone who can do anything to protect them.
Okay.
We slightly understand this philosophy from his compassionate attitude toward his younger brother at the beginning of the story. Because he has a younger brother, he has a natural protective instinct toward children. He even takes the blame for Jake's hidden marijuana use, accepting the fault and risking being kicked out of the house. But what makes Jesse's morality interesting is this. Children are completely innocent in his eyes, and this innocence is one of the things he values most in life. For example, when he plans to sell drugs to addicts in rehabilitation, he withdraws his offer when he learns that Andrea has a son. He even criticizes her for considering using drugs while having a child.
You heard me. What kind of mom gets wasted with a little kid to take care of?
When he learns that Gus's men use 11-year-old children in their operations, he risks his life to try to kill them. For a drug producer, this is an unexpectedly honorable attitude.
They use kids. These assholes of yours, they got an 11-year-old kid doing their killing for them. You're supposed to be some kind of reasonable businessman. This how you do business?
When the train robbery plan results in Todd killing a child, Jesse is so disgusted that he decides to quit the business completely. When he suspects that Walter poisoned Brock, he is ready to kill him for revenge. From all this, we understand that unlike Walter, Jesse is a character with values, and this shows us that Jesse does not actually belong to this dark criminal world. So why does Jesse not leave this world even though he sees from the very beginning that this business harms people? This questioning takes us to the deepest concept in Jesse's nature that oscillates between good and evil: loyalty. Whoever fights monsters should see to it that, in the process, he does not become a monster, says Friedrich Nietzsche. When we read this idea through loyalty, an interesting tension emerges. Being loyal to someone, protecting them, and making sacrifices for them may seem virtuous. But if the person you are loyal to is morally corrupted, does this loyalty not drag you down with them? One of the things that makes Jesse both a good person and a bad criminal is his loyalty. Jesse is loyal despite Walter manipulating him many times and causing him suffering.
You kill Mr. White, you're gonna have to kill me too.
Because Jesse has not received approval from his environment and especially his family, and he sees the father figure in his life in Walter, he is ready to do almost anything to gain Walter's approval. This situation gradually turns Walter's influence over Jesse into a more manipulative structure. Over time, Jesse finds other father figures besides Walter. Characters like Mike Ehrmantraut, who is a killer, show Jesse a more balanced and protective approach. He shows a similar loyalty to him as well, so, to a killer. He protects him and wants to give his money to his granddaughter when he dies. As the story progresses, we witness that Jesse no longer cares about what is right, but about whom he is loyal to. When he has to choose between Gale, who has harmed no one, and Walter, even though he first says, "I can't do this," when the moment comes, he kills Gale so as not to leave Walter's sacrifice for him unanswered. Yes, Jesse has been loyal to people who do bad things just to fill the missing father figure, but as the story progresses, he cannot forgive himself for what he has done and turns to drugs again. Perhaps this is what makes Jesse so human.
So no matter what I do, hooray for me because I'm a great guy. It's all good.
Jesse's story is a story of redemption. Unlike others who do not care about what they do or learn to accept themselves as they are, Jesse is constantly disturbed by his past and wants to make amends. He wants to cleanse his sins. He wants to get rid of the bloody money in his hands. When he learns that Walter poisoned Brock, the last fragment of loyalty he feels toward him disappears, and he does something completely unexpected.
Mr. White, he's the devil.
He confesses everything to the police. His aim is to send Walter to prison and ensure that all his money is taken away. He even learns that Walter watched Jane's death.
I was there, and I watched her die.
But at the end of the story, when he gets the chance to kill Walter, we see that he does not do it. Because deep down he knows that killing him would torment his conscience even more. Walter saved his life. No matter what, Jesse did not betray someone who saved him. When we come to the end of the story, we see that Jesse has neither achieved the great fortune he pursued from the beginning, nor power and fame. On the contrary, we find him as someone who has lost everything. He has witnessed the deaths of his loved ones, has been betrayed by the people he trusted, and he himself has been held captive and subjected to torture for years. He even loses his self-respect. But that question that has been turning in our minds throughout the whole story still stands unanswered. Was Jesse Pinkman a good person, or was he a bad one? Perhaps the way to answer this question is to first ask this: does a bad person suffer this much from what they have done? Because Jesse Pinkman's story teaches us this: what makes a person bad is not only what they do, it is how they live with what they do. If he got people addicted to drugs, he himself becomes addicted and loses the woman he loves. If he killed an innocent man like Gale in the middle of the night, he has to witness the death of the two women he loves. If he earned money through wrong ways, he tries to give that money back. This is what places Jesse in a special position in the Breaking Bad story. When we consider all of this, we can ask the question, did Jesse Pinkman lose? Like Walter White, Jesse is a character who both gained some things and lost much more throughout this story. However, the fundamental difference between these two characters becomes much more clear and striking by the end of the story. When we look at the end of the story, Walter White realizes that the only thing left in his hands is actually an identity he created himself, namely Heisenberg. Because throughout the process he gradually lost his true self and eventually became completely trapped inside this artificial character he created. Jesse, however, despite all the losses he experienced, the pain he endured, and his fragmented life, manages to preserve at least one thing: his own self. That is, despite everything he has lived through, the mistakes he made and the pain he was subjected to, he does not forget who he is and is still able to recognize what he feels in his inner world.